Hey, peace family. Happy Sunday to you all. Welcome to Elevate Us. And this is, a show talking about how to elevate the Black community in America, navigating through some of these tough conversations that we don't always want to have. But these conversations are very necessary for us to move forward and to progress. So, first, I just want to, say that we had a different week with, I don't know who's into, watching the planets align, but we did have a phenomenon on from Tuesday to Friday where five planets entered into our solar system where it was easy to see them with the naked eye. And I did have an opportunity to go out and take a look at it on Tuesday, which it was pretty cool. Took the kids out, let them go take a look because I want my kids to understand, that there's more to our life than what we're just living here in our regular everyday, back and forth, go to work, go to school, lives that we have going on. So for me, that was a really good event, and I live for stuff like that. I'm kind of a nerd, so I love those things. All right. And then also, I have a question of the day. So, my question of the day is: are you living or are you existing? All right. Are you living or are you existing? And, I think we know the difference between the two. Existing is just when we go back and forth every day. We're in the matrix, as we shall say. You go to work, you come home, kiss the kids, you cook dinner, go to bed, wake up, go back to work, and you do this every single day. And it just becomes a routine. Instead you're in a rut because you're just constantly doing the same things over and over again, and you never look beyond what how you're existing. But if you're living, then you are among the living and you're experiencing life. You're going out and you're having real experiences. So it's funny because I talked about this before, but my son, he gets on PlayStation, and the guys, when somebody is beating them really bad, they'll go on there and they'll say, go touch some grass, go look at the sun, because they're basically telling them get off the game and go outside. But the funny thing is they're also in the same little vortex that they're telling that person. So it's funny, but that's living. Go touch some grass, go see the sun, go do all the things that that we're intended to do. Go connect with nature. So that's the question. And if you want to drop it in the comments, just put living, put existing. No judgment zone here. So so um today I'm gonna shake things up just a teeny bit. All right. I'm not going to go super deep, but I do want you to start questioning a few things, and then let me make a couple of disclaimers. Number one, I am not attacking anyone's personal beliefs, and I'm not, going uh, I'm not trying to make something look, someone look bad for having certain beliefs or, certain theories, or, I'm not trying to make anyone feel a certain way. Um, I just like to come with as much facts and truths as I can. All right. And so then the second disclaimer is that I am not the what am I trying to say? I'm not a expert in these fields. I have studied some things. I picked up a few books and I read a few things, and I did attend, Liberty University, which was a Christian college, which, I had to go into a couple of subjects, which actually makes you, you got to pick up books, you got to write, oh my God, my brain is all over the place. But you have to write reports on these things. So you have to do the studying and you have to go in and you have to dig deeper than what's face value. So those are my disclaimers. I'm not an expert and I'm not trying to demean or, destroy, or I'm not trying to, talk bad about anyone's religion or personal beliefs. So, um, just a quick background on me and religion. I was, born into regular black home where, we were Christians, but I didn't start really going to church, I think, until I was like 8 or 9 years old. Actually, before that, we lived in a white neighborhood, and my mom used to put us on a bus, and we used to go to this white Christian church. And the church, I just remember one time one of the ladies at the church, she told me, "It's okay, honey. Jesus loves, he loves even the little black children." So from right away, I had a kind of a bad experience with the church and, with how I felt about it. So then after that, we went to a black church, and, I'm again not going to talk bad about anything, but the church that we went to, the building was over 100 years old. It's actually now they've made it into a monument, and, it can never be torn down. But just being in this building, the essence, or the just to me, I'm sure the other people that attend this church don't feel that way, but I felt an energy in this church, so from a young age, I feel like, because of the two separate experiences that I had, it made me think different, and it made me want to learn more. Back in the 70s, we didn't have the video games and cell phones and all these other things, so we weren't distracted by these things. We had to pick up books, and, as a kid, I would go home and watch cartoons, but I would also be reading the dictionary. And I remember I had encyclopedias, and I remember I had the solar system book that I used to read, and then as I sat in church, I would pick up the Bible, and I would start thumbing through, I would start reading certain things in the Bible. And, just even as a young child, I started to notice contradictions. And I didn't know at that time. I was just questioning, like, well, it says here not to do this, but we do it, So I just started questioning a few things, So then as we go, we years went by, and we moved, and we went to another church. And not gonna even put nothing on blast, but it wasn't, I know a lot of people, they have church homes, and, they have these wonderful church home experiences with the people there, and there's a connection there, and I had the people in the church that I loved, but it was still something about this church that just did not sit right with me, so um, I started to do a little research. And, by the time that I did get into college, I remember I took the one of the first classes I took. I just took an African American Studies class, and we had this teacher, and, he came in every day, dashikied up, and he had the ankh, and he started teaching us about ancient civilizations, and he started, just kind of, he didn't really go deep into these things. He just started to make us think. He made me want to look deeper. And so I found myself, looking into some of these ancient civilizations. And, like I said, I've never been an expert in these fields, but what I've come to realize is that, a lot of Christianity, a lot of the Bible, a lot of things in the Bible, is information. Don't get mad, but it's copied text. If you can research everything that I'm saying. I'm not saying anything that, nobody can go and pick up Google right now. You can pick up your phone and you can Google this stuff on your own. But, the most ancient civilization, which was Mesopotamia, and ancient Babylon, of course, I think we all know that. First you have to question these things. In the Bible, we know that in Genesis it starts off with the in the beginning, and then the Adam and Eve story, and they've come to say that the Adam and Eve are about 6,000 years old, right? But then you think about this. The earth is a creation that is 4.5 billion years old, right? And then the first upright humans were 4.4 million years ago. And then when you think about ancient Mesopotamia, that's about 200 to 300,000 years ago. All right, just put that into perspective. And now we're talking about Adam and Eve being the first people of creation being 6,000 years old. So I question that. So if we have this ancient civilization that, is 200,000 years old, but Adam and Eve's story is 6,000 years old, there's a discrepancy here. So something that I wanted to look into a little bit further. So as you look further into these stories, and it just depends on how open-minded you are. It's not even open-minded because these stories, they left actual artifacts behind telling us these stories. There's the Sumerian tablets, and there's the Emerald tablets of Thoth, and there's the Apocrypha, and there's so many different things, and just in Egyptian hieroglyphs, there's so much evidence left behind of, and then also, if you know anything about anything, you know that there were ancient civilizations in Peru, Persia, China, um, Egypt, of course, India, all of these places were ancient. And when I say ancient, I'm talking about thousands and thousands of years ago that predate the Bible. So as you start to look deeper into the Bible, you start to notice that a lot of the stories that are in the Bible are copied text. And if you don't believe me, you can go Google that. You start to realize that if you study, if you open up a book, you kind of say to yourself, I've seen this story before. you know I've heard this story before. Even the story of Jesus' birth is the story of Isis and Osiris and Horus. And this is all facts. We live in a world today where we have the ability to research anything. you know our ancestors, when they were brought to this country, they weren't Christians. They weren't Christians. They had their own religions or belief systems. I'm not even going to say religion. They had their own belief systems. And when the Europeans come in, anytime they come in, they kill in the name of religion. And I'm going to say over 700 million lives have been lost in history over religion, because we know that they come in, they say that you're going to worship this is what you're going to do, and if you don't, then we're going to take your chief right in front of you. And in slavery it was take the biggest buck or biggest guy that they could find, and right in front of you guys, we're going to kill him in front of everybody, so that way we get you to submit. All right. And it was, of course, it's a form of control, and it's a religion. Sorry to say this, religion is just, another form of slavery. It's a way of controlling the masses, and anybody that says that they believe in ancestors, your ancestors will roll over in their graves right now to see that so many of us have converted over to Christianity. At one time in this country, about 90% of black families were Christians. And right now we're in the middle of a great awakening. And the reason why we're in this great awakening is because this younger generation is doing just what I'm talking about. They're picking up their phones, they're going to Google, they're starting to research, and they're starting to open up to certain things. And they're starting to realize that, hey, you know what? That might not be the truth. They're starting to realize certain things, and even in our Bible it tells us that the old will die and the young will rise up. And that we see it happen time and time again, because the old will die with their old ways and their old ways of thinking. And then when the younger generations rise up, and they start to come into truth, and they start to understand that, hey, we have been lied to all these years. And I can understand for someone who has built their whole structure of their life on a religion, to know that this has been the whole basis of your belief system and how you operate and everything that you do. But I would have to say that, if you base your whole existence on one book, and for some of you, a book that you haven't even fully read, then you better be totally, completely sure. You know what I'm saying? You better be 100% sure, because if you haven't read that book from Genesis 1 all the way to Revelation 21, 22, then how do you know what's written in the middle? A lot of Christians, and I'm not just, going to just talk about Christianity, but it's, I've also been well, affiliated with the Nation of Islam. I never fully committed, but, a lot of Christians, the pastor tells them to go home and read this verse, and go meditate on this verse. And then they take great pride in memorizing verses, from the Bible. I've even had people tell me I don't need to read the whole Bible. And I'm just sitting there like, why? You're basing everything that you believe in, even your after existence, on this book. Why wouldn't you want to know everything, every detail, every small, minute detail of this book? Why wouldn't you want to know this? Because you're telling me that whatever happens after your existence here, that you're basing it on this book and these teachings, but then when you look at the discrepancies, and, again, I'm just like I said, I'll talk about Islam in just a bit. But, in the Bible, when you think about this, okay, in the Bible, the God of the Bible tells you not to kill, but he orders the killing of children, of women and children and babies, and even the first beast of, every animal, and then he tells you, not to be jealous or envy. But then he says, I'm a jealous God, and then he says, and don't say I'm blasphemous, you guys. I'm just right now I'm pointing out some facts, and I'm pointing out some discrepancies. You got to think about, in the Bible, in biblical times, it was okay if you rape a woman, you just pay her father, and then you have to marry her. Like, what woman wants to marry her rapist? And then if you catch a virgin in war, that virgin is yours to keep. You know, I'm just going to say that you have to understand something, and I don't want to go overly deep, but you have to understand that if you look back into Mesopotamia, and you look back into Samaria, and you look into the creation, during those times, and this is even quoted in the Bible, during those times, this was a time of giants that roamed the earth. And at that time, there were several gods. It wasn't, and I'll get to what I believe. It was several gods, and those gods come from other planets. So you have to, again, be open mind. We're in a time right now where the government cannot hide the fact that there are other life forms out there, because they're showing up now. People have cameras and phones. They're taking pictures of these things, and it's coming into our atmosphere now, and people are seeing it. So there's no hiding this fact, But at this time, when there were multiple gods, right? These multiple gods created humanity, right? And they created humans to be slaves and to be servants. And that's where a lot of, the teachings that you have in these words come from, that ideology of using humans, because we are grafted, we are, I'm not going to say grafted, we are genetically modified. We're GMO, and the purpose of creating humans was to be slaves. So the book, the Bible, it speaks of keeping humans enslaved. And that's how that book is able to keep us in slavery for so long. The Europeans that brought us over here, or encountered us here in this country, because it was both, we were already here. So there was some that was here, and there was some that was brought over. but they used this, and they didn't come with a message of love. They didn't tell our ancestors, give them a loving message about this book. They told them, if we catch you reading anything else or studying or worshiping or praying to anything else, we're going to kill you. We're going to brutally kill you. How is that a message of love? How do we accept that today as a message of love, right? So, even in Islam, you know, the Prophet Muhammad was, visited by an angel. And, when you think about what an angel is, it would have to be an extraterrestrial being. You can call it what you want to call it. But he was visited, and, you know, and, um, and he was given the I try to stay very neutral. I don't want to talk too hard about certain things. But as we know, Prophet Muhammad, he couldn't read or write. So he had to get other scribes to come in and decode the message that was given to him. Right. And so my only thing about, Islam is, again, you have these jahids where they go through and they force people to convert to Islam. And if you do not convert, then you will be killed. All right. So I just want you to look at religion on a deeper level. And I want you to research these things. I want you to look at it for yourself. So this new age of spirituality that we're coming into, and spirituality isn't new, because I took my first, the real dive that I took into spirituality, the first time was in 2010. And that's when I really started to discover what spirituality was, because I always knew that I didn't want to be religious, but I know that I believe in God. So when you look at ancient Kemetic uh, hieroglyphs or text, they speak of Neteru. And Neteru is just broken down, it's nature. And that is the divine energy, right? The divine energy of this planet. So we know that, and I've said this many times, that we are a creation that lives in a creation that was created by a creator, right? So if you really, if you really understand that the creator, it can't have a gender, you know, it's something that is within each and every one of us that causes us to be alive, and it's funny because I hear a lot of Christians, talk about crystals, and, oh, the crystals are satanic, they're the devil. But did you know that within your brain, there are, I'm going to say millions, it could be more, of crystals, natural crystals in your brain, just in your pineal gland alone. Your pineal gland contains crystals. And then also within your brain, it's a magnetite crystal that goes all through your brain. What do crystals do? Crystals pick up frequencies. They use crystals for so many things. And if you're against crystals, then you need to throw away your phone. You need to throw away cameras. You need to throw away TVs, because all of these things operate off of crystals, because crystals pick up frequencies. That's why they're in our brain. Because if you really understand that, God is within you and God is not someone outside of you, then you understand why you have crystals in your brain. Because what that allows you to do is it allows you to pick up on the energies and the frequencies outside of you and the vibration. So inside of your pineal gland is where it's almost like tuning into a radio station. So the vibration, our voices are just vibration. When we talk, everything, every sound that we hear, everything that goes on, it's a vibration. So when vibration travels through the airwaves, inside of our pineal gland is where we pick up frequencies to understand and decode what's being said or what we're hearing, what sounds that's, taking place. So again, like I said, I'm not going to go, overly deep. And again, like I said, I'm not an expert in this. but I have taken a few classes and I have studied a few things. And when you do that, when you study, you start to look at things differently and you start to understand. And I understand if this all of this hits you and it hits you as a shock, and it's information that you're afraid to take in because you're afraid of what the repercussions will be. But when you realize that God exists inside of you, you operate from a place of love. That's all you can do is operate from love. And when you're in a religious sect and that religion is telling you that of all the billions of people, there's 8 billion people in the world, but your religion is telling you that only the people that follow this religion, are the people that are going to make it to, that's going to be able to meet God. The Bible even breaks it down to 144,000 people. So we're talking about 8 billion people in the world. And out of this loving God that you have in the Bible, he's putting a number on the amount of people that he's going to love. So does that sound like it's coming from a place of love? I just need you to ask yourself that question. And I need you to, this is not going to resonate with everybody, and everybody's not going to like the message that I'm giving. But for those who it does resonate with, just do a little research. Look up Mesopotamia, look up Babylon, look up, the Sumerian tablets, look up the Emerald tablets of Thoth. Look up the Apocrypha, the original story of Adam. There's all these different stories. Look up how many different deities had the same birthdays and the same story as Jesus. Just go look these things up for yourself. And then you'll start to understand that maybe this story was copied over a couple of times. And maybe I do need to look a little deeper into it. Maybe I need to look further than this one book that I haven't even fully read. And a lot of people, you're just lazy. I'll just say it straight up. You're just lazy and you just want to follow the herd because it's the easiest and most comfortable thing to do. But if that's what you choose to do, then, you know, like I said, just you better be sure. All right. So that's it. I'm not going to talk no more on that subject. Right now, I'm going to talk about something else, what is a little bit near and dear to my heart right now. So I brought this with me. So this is a cleansing herbal blend. It's a tea blend, and I created this blend. So we've been doing herbs for a while. When Alea got leukemia, we used herbs and sea moss to help her heal. And then just recently, when she went into a diabetic coma, we did it again. So this is the blend that I put together, and this blend, it cleanses all of your systems. All right, so it helps to cleanse your lymphatic system. It helps to cleanse your kidneys, your liver, your pancreas, your spleen, your stomach, your lungs, your brain. It like literally, it's a cleanse all. So what that does is, as we eat all the foods that we eat on a daily basis, mucus starts to form around our organs. And when mucus forms on our organs, it's causing us to not be able to get oxygen to these organs, and they start to dehydrate. Sorry, excuse me. So our organs will start to dehydrate, and that's what causes us to have disease, is when our organs are dehydrated and they're not getting proper oxygen. So this tea is actually a body reset, and it helps you to cleanse your full system. That way you can start getting yourself into optimal health. So if you are interested in this tea, you can go to easydaysminimart.com. That is EASYDAYS minimart.com to order your tea. And when I deliver it to you personally now, or I can ship it, but I also give you a pamphlet that tells you all the herbs that's in the tea, what they do, what systems they help, and then also full instructions on how to use the tea. So it's a fasting tea. You can use it as a fast, or there's several different ways that you can fast with this tea, but it's very necessary for us to start thinking about our health, because health is wealth. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not going to be around here for, even the 120 years that we were promised. So start taking care of yourself. And then also, I have my workbook. If you want to order this journal is just, it helps you to kind of get your life in order. And it's got nice affirmations in it, food journals, planners, all these different things. So, and then also, I am a life insurance agent, and I do work in the financial advising business. So if you are interested in getting life insurance for you or your family, you can also go to, you know what, I'll put the website in the link. Nah, I could tell you it's almost done. So there's some aspects to the website that's not completely finished. But if you go to only one L, and that's ELLE, only1L.com, then you'll be able to go through there and navigate some of the services as far as getting some life insurance. And also, I have a meditation that I'm getting ready to get started. So I'll let you know about that soon. Also, don't forget Get Mossed. So it's GetMoss369 on Instagram. You can also order that at EasyDaysMiniMart.com as well. All right. So that's it. I am out. And comments, questions, anything that you got, let me know in the comments. And let me know what you think. And if there's something that you would like me to talk about, a subject you would like me to hit on, let me know, and I will definitely do it. Because again, I am just trying to elevate the Black community so we can come out of the slavery mindset, so that we can start doing better, having better, and seeing better for ourselves, for our future, and for our future generations. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Elevate us.